Nobody expected this unprecedented situation. It broke many perceptions, both about Hamas, about the Palestinians, about their capabilities, and about ourselves and our capabilities. But this is now put aside. People are still digesting what happened. The more time passes, the more horrible scenes are exposed day after day. I've been to the south the day before yesterday, and I can tell you I've been so many times in the south in times of war. What I saw there was nothing like it happened in the past. But I must say that side by side with what I mention here, there is also a big sense of taking revenge, a big desire to take revenge, and hatred toward the Palestinians is growing up to very, very dangerous levels. Same anger is also directed at the government, less than this at the army. But I think that the government, once this war will be over, hopefully soon, this government is going to pay a hell of a price, and it must go home. I don't see this situation in which Netanyahu continues, and all the ministers around him, who are all of them no-ones, fascists, and part of them would have even been defined in Europe as neo-Nazis. Those people who called for all kinds of terrible things to do and did nothing to make Israel prepared for any danger, and continue not to doing nothing. That's so astonishing that we are now the 5th day after the war, and you don't see the government. They are still preoccupied with their own political careers, with all kinds of political manipulations. Nobody takes care of the situation. The army is preparing itself for a ground operation, but except of the army, I was in so many homes which were bombed, so many people who lost their beloved one. Nobody came to them. Nobody offers them any assistance. Israel is really falling apart from this point of view. And the man who governed Israel for the last 15 years is the one and the only one to be blamed before anyone else. This goes without saying. And I guess at 6 after the war, as we say, million Israelis will go to the streets, and they will have only one demand. At least Netanyahu go home. If not, Netanyahu go to court and be sentenced for this irresponsible policy that you have been committing.
Gideon Levy, I wanted to ask you according to press reports, as many as 1,500 Palestinian fighters of Hamas were killed inside of Israel. So the enormous number of militants who were able to get into Israel. Could you talk about the decision of the government to relocate large portions of Israel's army from the Gaza border to protect far-right settlers on the West Bank?
Sure, that's one of the big failures on Saturday. Not the only one, because the first failure is obviously the surprise, the strategic surprise. We are so proud about the most sophisticated intelligence in the world, with all kinds of those elite units, with all the devices. They know everything, they understand everything. And then an operation which was prepared for 1 year by hundreds of militants, they didn't hear about it. So that's the first failure. The second failure is obviously that the southern front with Gaza was totally abandoned, because we were busy with all the festivals of Sukkot, of those crazy settlers, guarding them, but not only guarding them, collaborating with them with their pogroms among Palestinians. We have clear evidence that the army saw the pogroms and did nothing. And when an army is busy for years now, not only recently, only with running and chasing after Palestinian children who throw a stone, and after all kind of suspected Palestinians, when an army is overoccupied in standing in illegal checkpoints and penetrating to Palestinian homes in the middle of the night to arrest somebody without any legal basis, then this is the result. You get, instead of a professional, motivated, experienced army, you get a bunch of no-ones who don't know what to do in such a situation, because after the first shock, it took still hours and hours until the army showed up. And that's unbelievable.
And this issue of Netanyahu preparing for an invasion of Gaza, you talk about the immense undertaking that this involves, having to go literally house by house or building by building in Gaza to find any of the hostages being held. The enormity of this project.
First of all, to go from building to building is impossible already, because there were many buildings still down, and I'm not sure that how many buildings were left, for example, in the neighborhood of Rimal. To find the hostages alive, really, it's nice for all kind of Hollywood films. I don't see it happening, for sure not with this army, with its capabilities, as we were witnessing it only on Saturday. The invasion into Gaza has some other goals, namely to put an end to the rule of Hamas. And this is another impossible mission, because you can kill the current top people of Hamas. You cannot kill the ideology of Hamas, and they will always be replaced. Ground operation now is supported almost by all Israelis, because Israelis understand that we have to do something after this embarrassment, after this catastrophe. But at the same time, I must tell you, I can assure you that if Israel will go now for a ground operation, it will take a few weeks or maybe a few months. It will take so much blood of both Palestinians and Israelis, mainly Palestinians, obviously. And by the end of this operation, you will invite me again to Democracy Now!, and you will see that we are standing exactly in the place that we stood 1 week ago. Because as long as Israel continues to believe that Gaza, the problem of Gaza, will be solved by the sword, solved by brutal force, by emotions of revenge, justified emotions, then we will get exactly to the same place. This vicious circle will not be solved by power, not be solved by tanks, and will it be solved by troops, only by a political agreement, and above all, and first of all, lifting this criminal siege, for God's sake, after 17 years. This siege was about to guarantee the security of Israel. So what happened out of the siege, except of the unbelievable, inhuman suffer of 2 million people? What did it contribute to the security of Israel, this siege? You see the outcome.